is beginning. And the first item on our agenda will be to approve regular meeting minutes for December 4th and meeting minutes for January 1st. I'm sure everybody's had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes on December 1st to December 4th of last year and this year, the 1st of January.
Second, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, so moved. So next is, like to introduce Sonia Prothman and Steve Worthington from Prothman. Gosh, I forgot your title. So you are here to kind of help us do our executive director search, or at least give a proposal, of which you have given us a proposal to each one of us to take a look at. So we'd like to welcome you and thank you for joining us. And you have, Sonia, would you like to start, or Steve?
Sure. Nice to meet you guys. We were called, Steve was notified from Karen, I believe, that you guys needed some help potentially. So we're just here to help you as well as we can in the process. And you have our proposal in front of you. And we, being that it's Mason County, and I know you guys are a pretty small part. I drive through Allen all the time. I see your docks and stuff. We just want to give you the type of support you need. So I gave you the proposal that just included the sourcing and screening, where we would do all the upfront work. Steve would do the interviewing, and then come to you and say, these are the people that meet your qualifications and fit, and these are the ones that don't. And then we would support, we can support you in the back scenes on that, but then you would take the process over and actually do the interviews of the final candidates. Now, if you wanted more, you wanted us to be more involved in that final process, and I would need to update the proposal to have us come in and facilitate the final. So, and Steve would be your lead consultant, and he's currently working, what is it, the Mason County Economic Board? So he's
the Economic Development Board. Yeah. Doing the executive director, I should say, there. And then I'm also just completing the Mason Transit Authority finance manager. It looks like we have a good candidate there, and Amy's working out some details now.
And Steve, you're also doing the MACECOM?
The company is. We have a different consultant that is doing MACECOM, but I have also did the Mason County administrator about 3 years ago. I've lost track of how many years ago.
Yeah, was it? I think about 2 years, 3 years. I guess it was about 3 years ago.
Yeah, but and the company's involved with MACECOM, but we have roughly a half dozen consultants similar to myself, and all of us have a background in local government executive positions. And gosh, I don't know, Sonia, anything you'd like to add about that?
No, just, the MACOM one, Richard's doing, because he's got a police background. So it made more sense to have someone with a policing background to do that. So we try to match our consultants with the type of job it is. So, Steve and I are kind of here to, any questions you have, any questions about the process. We're here to answer any questions to help you guys make your decision.
So Sonia, what I would ask is that I think the other two commissioners is that we want a good fit, or a person that's going to be a good fit. Of course, everybody does. And so do we need to get you a job description?
Well, so let me tell you give you a little more information on the upfront part. So if you guys decide you want to move forward, we'll do the contract, and then I send out we're getting started email, and it will connect you to Jared from my office. He puts the position profiles together. I don't know, I probably didn't send you a position profile, but anyway, we can send you one as an example. And that will have the job description. It'll have a description of the port, a description of the area, beautiful pictures of the area. benefits, salary, all of that. And so Jared will send you a list of those items he needs at that time, and then you can get the stuff together and send it to him. He'll put the position profile together. He'll send it to you in draft form for review and edits. And then he'll put it back in with all the pictures. Then he'll send it for final approval from everybody. And then I will also, on my kickoff, I will include Steve in that and say, okay, Steve's going to be your lead consultant, which you already know, but how much stakeholder interviews do you want him just to meet with the board to hear, so he can get a good idea on the fit, right? What the culture is, what does is this person need to be, someone who sits in his office all day or someone who's out walking the docks, those kind of things. We don't want to put the wrong, we don't want to screen for the wrong person. So Steve will then contact you at that point and say, let's talk about the stakeholders. Do you want me to come to the port? I can do these Zoom? Do we, any staff members you want to talk to? So the upfront work is really important. So we do understand the fit. So all that's going on. Then we post the position. It'll be probably a 5-week recruitment window where we're doing our work. We're sending out emails. We're doing the direct mail. We're placing ads. We're talking to folks. We're doing the social media, LinkedIn boosts. We're doing all kinds of outreach during that 4 to 5 week window. And then on the closing date, Steve will review. He does his thing, types in his notes, figures out who he's going to interview and move forward, who meets the basic qualifications. And then he'll do that first row of interviews. And then we'll put all that information, all of their applications, supplemental questions, resumes, and his notes into a packet and, send it to you. Most of the time we're sending them electronically, way back before COVID, everything went into books, and now everybody's so used to having everything on their computer, but we have the option of printing them and sending them to you or sending them to you electronically. And so you'll have all of the applications and resumes, and then Steve will have what we call a work session with you where he'll go over the candidates, where they rank with fit, qualifications, experience, where they're from, all those types of things. And then he'll facilitate the discussion with you to decide who you want to invite for your final interview.
Perfect.
Sonia and Steve, it's nice to meet you. So what's your targeted geographic area? What does that target look like as far as what you would expect as a response of qualified people? How far are you looking, or how far do we need to look, geographically, I guess is my point.
Well, I would, when I do ports, I usually direct mail it on a national basis. And I think there's like 450 ports nationally. Some are big, the bigger ones, we might go to the deputies or, but obviously, we rarely, a lot of times I'll take out the very East Coast, the New York, Maine, those ports, because they really don't fit in here in the Pacific Northwest. And so,
exactly. We're a small port. I would find it difficult to believe that there's not qualified, experienced, competent, candidates in the Pacific Northwest, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're not going to be
Right.
paying for their move, or it's going to be an upfront thing, salary wise, and if it fits for them, it fits for us. And I have no doubt that we don't have to go geographically too far to get a whole pile of candidates. Would you agree with that, Steve?
So your likely candidate is someone nearby. Yes, I agree that that's the likely candidate. The reality is, though, some of the mailing list and the associations that we advertise with are national associations. And so it isn't as though we're targeting folks in the East Coast, as we don't have a way to pull them out of certain target media.
I understand that. Yeah.
Well, and also, which is interesting, we did the Port of Bellingham aviation director, and we had I think I entered 14 for that one, and probably about 8 of them were from the Midwest, from bigger airports, Midwest, Atlanta, big airports. yet they had family in the Pacific Northwest. They
Okay.
grew up in the Pacific Northwest. They
I
wanted to come
understand.
back to the Pacific Northwest. So we
Right on.
don't want to upfront limit our outreach because we really don't know how many people have been in the Pacific Northwest and then now this is the
Yeah.
perfect job for them and they want to come back. So that's
Yeah.
kind of another
No,
reason
that-
why we don't want to limit it up
Yeah.
front.
I get
Yeah, this
that.
is- yeah, it's a-
Where are you physically located, Steve?
I'm in University Place next to Tacoma,
Okay.
so
and
I'm basically
Sonia- okay.
about an hour away. So
Okay, thank you. And Sonia, being it's after August, you're back here at by the lake now, right?
Right now I'm in Snoqualmie, but I go
Yeah.
back and forth quite a
Okay.
bit. So
Okay,
just depends on my workload and what I need to be at the office for. If I have a 4 or 5 day window, I go to the lake house.
and, okay,
So one of my questions would be, the finances, were pretty tight, and I do appreciate the discount, by the way. Previously, just so that you know, when we did our search, we kind of did it ourselves. And, so having this kind of information is very helpful to know, how you advertise. That's something that we might fall short with, because we do have some ability, but, we don't have LinkedIn, we do have Facebook. But I have to ask a hard question. Could you discount it anymore?
Well, and that's going to depend on if how much travel Steve has to do. If you guys want to do the meeting Zoom, then there's no travel involved, and that's the ads are the ads. We can look and really make sure we do that we're Barry can work with you on the ad budget. We'll show you a list of where we add. There's a couple port spots that we'll want to add. And then there's some free ones like Association of Washington Cities. So he'll be able to give you a list so we can utilize, and you can say, we'll say we really highly recommend at least these 3. And then you can look at your budget and say if you want to do those. The direct mail.
if we were seriously leaning that direction and we come to, if we conclude that it's within the budget, if you will, initially, would you both be, or one or both of you be willing to meet in person for the initial kickoff and exchange discussion?
Yeah, and Steve's more than
Yep.
available to come in and do the stakeholders in person with you, so you can shake hands, get to know him up front.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, no, I'd be
Absolutely.
happy to. And I've done that with Mason Transit Authority. I've been in person with the EDC as well. So if you'd like it, I can. The travel expenses does come to you, but it's not a huge expense. So
That's
I
good
might
to
have put
know. It's good to know, Steve. I'm a board member on Mason Transit Authority. So nice to
Okay.
meet you and thank you.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to know. Yeah.
And Steve, my office,
Mhm.
is right below Amy's office.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just there on Friday then.
Yeah,
So actually, I was at is it George Street?
John's Prairie Road. Yeah.
Yeah, Johns Ferry Road. That's it. Yeah, Friday.
Yes, you
Yeah.
have a question?
Yeah, it looks like a good time for me to chime in here. Travis Merrill, I'm the interim executive director currently.
Travis?
And, nice to meet you. So I can see that there is an expense schedule of additionals that, the approximate 800 to 1,600 on the advertising and direct mail announcements and background checks and such. So of course we wouldn't be seeing you would have traveling expenses and such that would add on top of that. But if we were
Actually,
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I'm sorry, but I interrupted you. Actually, I think I put travel no charge because
Okay,
Steve,
okay. No,
yeah.
if you did, I may have missed it.
he's within an hour, and
Sure.
we're
Mhm.
And we would have to book either a work session for all the commissioners to be there to be in compliance, or we'd
Right.
have to stagger our meetings individually, of course.
yeah.
If we can
And-
coordinate with all the commissioners, they can come in 30 minutes after each other.
Yep.
But I would think that it would be very good for you to physically be in our office and see how we are such a small entity that was really powered by 2 people. And it's a huge workload for sure. I'm coming to find out very quickly. So
Small port doesn't mean small job.
No, not at all.
Exactly.
I think it means larger job, to be honest.
Ah,
You gotta have both people on point doing just as much work as the other.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
So commissioners, do you have thoughts? Maybe we could break this down to where, would you like to have them do partial?
Um,
What's your
that's-
thoughts first, and then I'll chime in.
Yeah, no, that's why, I mean, for discussion purposes, that's why I'd like to schedule, a time that works for you to come in, and if we're to seriously entertain this, we have to kind of step into that zone, if you will, to not waste your time or anybody else's time, and to see what that should look like within our budget, you know? We know what our budget is, and we just need to be very careful. Our needs or wants or the sense of urgency should not override the common sense and being fiscally responsible, if you will, with the taxpayer dollars. And I don't mean to go on
Mhm.
about that, but I would suggest that we can have that discussion, but definitely, at least in part, I would be very for having them come on board, at least in part, whatever that looks like.
Well, I'd be inclined to do that too. I think it's just cost wise, that's my
Right.
concern. You know, how far gathering information, matter of fact,
Right.
gathering information, getting a good profile set up, because that's something that I previously, when we got our executive director, we just put out an ad, couple of ads. It's been so long, I don't even remember when.
Huh.
And so, that's where I think we need a little guidance, for sure.
Yeah,
Advertising, of course, that's critical. And maybe that's something that we could discuss, whether we take it over to screen them, or if that's something that, you know, we could afford to have you screen, so. Commissioners, thoughts?
yeah, if I can, Commissioner Jackson, I'd like to see the screening, part of that screening process be in their camp, if you will. Just
I agree.
for the sake of their experience in screening through that, and then giving us the best that we could get, if you will. And then not just having the final say as a commission, of course, but to be able to work closely with Steve also in that regard, you know, and he would be communicating with us. So I'd like to see us get set up and schedule a time, commissioners, to meet with him and to see what that might look like. And we're gonna have our budget, you know, already, I mean, we've had our budget continually thrown our way most every meeting, so we all kind of know what it looks like. But to have another fresh one prior to that meeting, to see what, you know, what it looks like that day, if you will. And I say that with some humility, because we've had so many changes in the last several months, as everybody knows. And I just don't want to get caught up in the forest. I want to stay outside the trees looking in, which is why I want to see them come on board.
Yeah, Steve and Sonia, who does your background checks?
a company called Sterling. They do the education verification, criminal, sex offender, and pretty much whatever. They don't do a credit report, but they do everything else.
Right, education degree verification.
And you know, and
Yeah.
that sometimes we have clients that just do that on their chosen finalist and don't do it up
Mhm.
front.
Correct.
And so you don't have to do it on all the finalists. We typically will do it on all of our finalists when we're facilitating the finals. So we don't have any surprises when we bring someone forward. And I said we would do references for you also. So we'll do references on your finalists for you. And you know, Steve will be there, you know, we'll be there to help you guys through the finals too. You know, if you need help, or, you know, we're not, you know, if you need the help setting up questions, we have sample questions. We have all kinds of stuff we can provide you to
Okay.
help you through the process in the finals.
So one of the things I'm seeing myself do, I do like the idea of somebody else doing the the backgrounds as we go through people. But I will tell you that I will be doing a complete background for the final candidates, if you will. I have the ability to do that. That's all I'll say about that. But, so we'll get there. There are rules and laws governing, hiring, employment with, criminal background checks that have to be really adhered to. And I think you're all aware of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
So should we try to set up a meeting
I would like
and,
that.
okay, and do you charge us for a meeting the first time or what do you charge?
No, Steve can come down and meet you all and discuss any more specifics that you have.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, that would be excellent.
Great.
Steve, you can just email me when you have, a good idea of what times will work and I can coordinate with the commissioners.
We're gonna do that right now.
Sure, that's fine. I have a thought of some of those times, but I'll get that in an email. It'll be easier to coordinate that way. So
Thank
You
you.
could
Very good
probably be
choice.
there in an hour, Steve.
just about, yeah.
Just about.
We'll still be here.
I like your
Yeah.
motivation, Sonia.
Yeah, I think I can make 3. So anyhow,
I get there by 3.
yeah. But in addition to that, we can see what we can put together fairly quickly here.
Okay, that's great. Good. So we'll
Okay.
keep in contact then and I appreciate that.
All right.
We'll move in that direction one way or the other, whatever that looks like, which is why it'd be good to meet. So thank you very
Mhm.
much.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay,
I look
good.
forward to meeting you all soon. So
Yeah, absolutely, Steve. And hopefully we'll go down and play the home course one of these days.
there we are. That's right. Back in your old stomping grounds. Yeah.
The old Mayor's Cup. Yep.
Exactly, Ted. Well, good. Good.
All right. Well, thank you both
Right
very
into you.
much.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
thank you all.
Thank you. Nice to meet you
Okay.
all.
All
And
right.
nice
Thank
to
you.
meet
Nice to meet you both.
Thank you for joining us.
You bet.
Thank you.
Take care.
Okay, next is the discussion and possible action on the employment agreement for the interim executive director Travis Merrill. I gave him a copy of Larry's, so he took a look at that.
I removed the parts that were Larry and removed some other parts that I didn't think were necessary for a temporary employment record.
Okay,
And it terminates 90 days after December 26th.
okay. What do I do with it?
What are you looking for? I'm sorry. This? Interim executive director employment agreement?
Yep.
It's in the
I know
back.
it's in here.
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I'm getting there.
Okay. No problem.
Real quickly, commissioners, my internet is failing, so I'll try to sign back on real quick.
Okay, we'll wait.
Apologize. Yep.
Okay. If I was gonna say, if we miss you, we'll just pause. Aaron, you mind me asking you a question real quick? So we're gonna try to set up, as you heard, the meeting with them. We don't know whatever modified version of an agreement we can put together with them because there is a sense of urgency, but we want to do it proper, right? Which is why I feel inclined to go that direction. I'm interested to see what your thoughts are on our budget regarding that. They want 7,500 and that was brought down from 10,500 for their services plus expenses, and there'll be expenses.
Of course, yes,
Yeah.
so I know Steve, I have met Steve.
Okay.
He, helped at the water district.
Oh, cool.
So I had made a note, and then we got to that, the travel expenses, I went, oh, there are.
Yeah,
travel expenses.
they pile up.
And then the other thing, we actually paid, some travel expenses on one of the candidates that came from like Walla Walla, so that would be also, I would think the question as we get to the finalist is, are they going to expect?
Well,
them to
see,
reimburse?
so that means that's a really good point. I'm as a commissioner gonna say no, right? It's just like, how motivated are they to get a job? How do they want this? Why do they want it? Those are all parts of those questions in the interview, right? What makes you, not only what makes you qualified, speak for, but at the same time, it shows a sense of, I really want this.
Right.
So you don't want to bring somebody in and everything's taken care of because, you don't see the motivation behind that too much, but,
In
so,
terms of the budget, well, I think it's gonna depend on what happens in the office going forward,
Mhm.
because, now that the Leanne salary is not there, and then, Travis obviously will be taking some of what Leanne and Larry work together, and. so
We need those.
No, I get
numbers,
that,
There
For
is
sure.
some money there for.
So, I'm looking, and I'll speak for myself just as one of the commissioners, and we'll be having this discussion too, is I'm gonna lean towards, getting somebody in, it doesn't have to be highly qualified, but somebody to do, support,
Mhm.
administrative work, right? With minimal training, to get through this time period. But, okay, well, so I'm just wondering what you think about the budget regarding the expense of bringing a recruit in, what your thoughts are on that?
I think it's a good idea, that they are helpful, this is what they do.
Yes,
But I do agree with you that the money is very tight.
yes,
And concerning, something that I had brought up to Travis a couple of weeks ago was with the loan coming up with some grant.
yeah,
So much of that is upfront and then they reimburse.
Right,
So
right.
do we have the cash to float us
Mhm.
for a week or two or a month? Waiting for the state or the federals to reimburse.
so what's really
That's
helpful with you
concern.
sharing that is, so when we have this discussion with them, how much they're gonna work with us, right?
Right.
So get it going, get it started, and then, work on the
I see.
latter end of that,
The question, for us, if there's some sort of like an à la carte thing that we could do with them where.
Yeah.
They do some of the screening, but maybe we do some of the advertising.
Sure, they can even
Yeah.
recommend, well, this is where you wanna advertise, and we just go direct, right?
There's some things that we can do in
Yeah.
the office that, I mean, we can set up LinkedIn profiles, we can set up.
Sure,
Some of those advertising things that are literally like the sites that you use,
Mhm.
that we could get out of them doing as an extra.
yeah, Jeff?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
No problem. Assuming, I have to use the word assuming. When I look at this, the county or the port's budget online that's posted, and that's as of December 30th, which I believe that's what you.
Yes, yeah.
It's showing, and I'll speak just to the general fund, because it gets too convoluted if I try to dice and slice. But from the general fund point of view, it looks like we're short 12 annualized. In other words, when you come to look, start of the year to the end of the year, you're short 12. When I look at your payroll during when Larry was here and things were relatively normal, some of the, prices phase, and then this readjustment phase, you guys level too. Just generically, it looks like you're short another 10 to 12. Okay, so I don't have any problem with the source. I think they, personally, they're giving you different options, literally how to pick and choose and work the different things with you, which I think is great. I thought it was gonna be more like I saw with the city of Shelton where, it's 15K or, this kind of thing. So I'm happy to, so as a taxpayer, I'm fine how they're stating it and how you might work with it, the port might work with it. My concern is, you're a couple fold. One is that additional cost, and there's probably ways to pull work for different funds, but it has, to me, it seems like you need to address that up front before you
Great.
get into one, negotiating the deal with them,
Right,
and two, before you negotiate the deal with whoever's gonna be the director.
I agree.
And because we had the port, the port had conversations about possibly delaying an appointment because of budgets, to maybe halfway through the year or something like that. And now, obviously, that's kind of ratcheted up with
Right.
everything that's happened. I'm not against one or the other, just saying that, at least in the old days, when I used to do this in the private industry, we call it budget forecasting. You just try to balance and see what the next 90 days, next 120 days, whatever
Yeah,
timeframe was gonna do, because I'm concerned that even, let's just say you get this to zero, then you have zero over here, that's a problem, obviously starting in the next year. And that, I believe, needs to be addressed this year. And I don't have a problem with the port being in debt or not being in debt, but as long as we know, or the port knows, and we, the taxpayers know, that this is the course and the plan.
All right,
That way, if crap happens, which we've
We're
seemed to
prepared.
had a fair, the shit in the last 90 days.
yes, sir.
That when the port makes adjustments. It looks, or there's reasonable thought applied to it. It doesn't look, like it just on a whim, went one way or went. one
The
way
numbers
other.
don't look so cattywampus.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I had some questions, but I don't wanna get in the nitty gritty.
Right,
It's just, I looked at it because I knew you were having this, and I'm concerned that if we really need to look at how that forecasts out
Mhm.
and see. Because my concern is you're gonna be tighter than you think, and we need to. Figure out where that date is, where we can actually bring somebody on, but then also look at the other budget categories and see where we do or where we don't. And obviously there's some of that proportion is in the water side of the funds. So that makes it a little more, I'll call it three-dimensional, meaning it would be one thing if you're all in general fund and working this all through general, but you're not. So you have this other fund that has to dovetail with you through that whole process too. It's not hard, but it takes some discipline to do it and get
Yes.
into it. And I'm sure in short order,
In short order, we could even find out exactly how much we're saving in labor costs right
Right.
now, because the port is not paying very much in labor now with just.
right.
right,
cur-
but I
the
mean,
current-
the lowest payment we've had so far has been around 17,800.
Mhm.
And
Okay,
even if you take that, and I realize there's differences again, but if you take that, we're still short of about 12. In addition to 12 we were short before, so I'm just,
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
I get
that's
that.
my 2 bits to the whole thing.
yeah.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, it's in your hands but I'm happy to point out and. give my
Aaron, did
thoughts.
you have some comment?
I'm glad that you brought that. I don't know that that was completely, and maybe it was my communication issues to Leanne during the budget. When my initial email said this budget is not sustainable, it was that you will end the year negative
Mhm.
cash. Not that the income and expense was going to be negative, you would have negative income. There wasn't going to be enough cash to get us through the next year. So I'm glad that he brought that up, and I think that is definitely, so some of the things were like the lobbyist, and I know Leanne was working on that, so I thought maybe at some point next month or so, we could dig into some of
Yeah.
those areas that I know she was gonna look at. Can we modify some of the contracts and get that going?
Well, I think this is
Yeah.
so important that we ought to have a meeting set up where we just only do the budget.
Just dollars
Period.
and cents, yeah.
Nothing
I think
else
that's
on the
really
agenda.
helpful.
Yeah.
Whatever
that
that
would be
looks like,
fine.
even before we meet with them. If we even do that, like,
Sure.
whatever that looks like.
If I was in your shoes, I would do the same.
Yeah,
thing.
no, I would,
Before you wanna open.
no,
What you commit
Yep.
to.
I wanted to
Right.
leave that open for obvious good reason, but I wrote this down as a note for myself when we were having this earlier discussion with them, that that's what I want to see us do, and just set up a meeting just for budget
I
only.
do believe, Aaron, you were gonna be able to come Monday. We were talking about, yeah, so, Aaron, yeah, Aaron and I on Monday could really just hammer down on budget.
Well, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah,
Well,
well, not
I
just-
think it needs to be the commissioners, Travis. The
Okay, well,
commissioners need to, go over.
All I was doing was to offer to
Yeah.
bring some more information to you and try to make things clear.
Right?
Yeah, no, I agree with Commissioner Sheridan, is that I think the commissioners need to sit down with the budget. And Aaron, if you'd like to sit up at the table, I don't know if there's anybody else in the
Well,
room
there's plenty
besides,
of room.
yeah,
No,
I really do believe that commissioners need to sit down, and go through it.
Yeah, I do
So-
too.
Yes, can we try to, I was just looking, can we try to make a date for Monday? Are you available?
Monday's a federal holiday, so I don't know who's,
I wouldn't be able to get the notification out.
yeah, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
notification would already miss the deadline.
Okay,
so if Commissioner Scott, if we could just do another day besides Monday, I could make it work for my side. And I'll be in the office, but I 100%, the commissioners need to sit down and go through the budget. So, and thank you, Jeff,
This
for
week could be as
bringing that
Wednesday,
up. So,
Because it'll go into print on Tuesday.
yeah, I could do Wednesday.
Can I throw out the Wednesday at 10:30 a.m.? Does that work for you?
I'll make it work. I'll make it work, Commissioner.
Aaron?
Can we do a night, because I do have a full-time
Okay,
job, a nighttime usually, but I know that's not fun for anybody
it's
else.
not that it's not fun.
Or even like a 4 o'clock or 3:30, just closer to the end
As
of.
long as we're done before 5.
3:30 works great for me, if the other two commissioners, yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday,
Well, you could start earlier and you come in too. I mean,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yes.
Um,
yes.
You were thinking 3?
Yeah, 3:30.
3 I could do too.
3 o'clock.
I could do 3. How about you, Ted? Wednesday, the
That'd be
17th?
perfect. Yep, thank you. That'd be perfect.
Is that good?
Yep,
Yes, thank you, I appreciate that.
I will get that typed up and out to the print.
okay.
Thank you.
3 o'clock, correct?
The 17th,
Yes.
okay. 3 PM, all right, that works for me.
And that is budget,
Budget only.
okay? What, you don't like to multitask?
I don't mind it, but
you'll find that everything's buried in the budget.
exactly. Because we're gonna be going over so many things on the budget that it's all gonna come home, so.
Listed as discussion and possible action.
Yeah. Yes.
And in the meantime, these are through December 31st, our financials, so it might be helpful to, and Ted, I can send you, now I'm looking at, Ted, I can send you a copy of the financial statements through December 31st.
Well, thanks. Or I could swing by the office and whatever works best. So,
Okay, let's keep on task here with the executive director employment agreement. Does everybody have that in front of them?
Yeah,
What were the parts that you changed?
Anywhere Larry's name was,
And what was the other one that you didn't, I couldn't remember.
the effective date.
Okay,
all right.
Secure and retain services, to him for the office of interim executive director for 90 days. From the effective date of September 26, 2023.
great, yeah.
I changed the salary to hourly rate because that was what was approved, $34 an hour. I also added that anything time and a half would be time and a half, but I can just cut it 40-hour weeks and not work any overtime.
Yeah, I think with our situation, we may
Yeah.
have to do
Yeah,
that.
and I have no problem with that. It's just
Okay.
in there if you asked me to.
Okay, so let us strike that. Will be time and a half. This 40-hour week. Is that okay?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay,
That, the only reason I put it
Well,
in there like that is
it's a-
if you
it's a
asked me
90
to
day.
work more than that, so.
if it was longer, yes, then I would leave it in there, but it's 90-day and we have a tight budget, so.
Yeah, no, I don't, I
Okay.
understand. And then when you just,
I have your extra.
then when you just alert, you say, no time, no overtime, period.
now, when you're a salary employee, there's no overtime.
But this is 40-hour
Okay,
was-
then,
hourly.
It wasn't
We
approved
changed
as
that
a
to
salary, it
hourly.
was approved.
Okay.
As a hourly rate.
perfect. And before we get in, I would still like to know, what occurred with Patty Knoll.
I gave you the letter.
I saw your side, but I heard she
Yeah.
met with Judy, but I still have questions about that. So
Oh,
I understand.
I'm very concerned. So I don't want to be part of another lawsuit at the part of Ellen. And I'd like to know why Patty felt so upset that she needs to leave. So,
She's willing to answer any questions. Her statement was that she left for professional reasons.
and I'd like to know what those reasons are. And I've reached out to her a couple of times and
Oh,
received one response. So,
okay, so I'm gonna be calling her myself, Ted, so, honestly, I think that's where we'll get the answer to what,
I'm just concerned. I'm
I am
glad
too.
you and Commissioner Scott on top of it. I have no clue what transpired.
oh, I don't, well, other than Dawn's statement and
Travis's
Travis's statement, that's we'll get to the bottom of it by you've got the discernment, abilities once you, talk to her as well. I'm gonna do the same thing. That's all I can say to that, because I know no more than you do, other than what I've seen.
I asked her if she wanted to write a statement and she said, no, not at this time.
Okay,
Okay.
With the salary, Travis, we did say no time and a half. Should we change that for no overtime? Or how do you want to rephrase any of that?
I can just rephrase it at an hourly wage of $34 an hour. This is a salary hourly rate at 40 hours maximum a week.
Okay, so with that change,
Sure.
we can go ahead and approve that with that change that you just stated.
The only other thing I changed was office hours. They were wrong.
Oh,
I moved them to Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, but it also indicates that the employees is the same that Larry had, is expected to work a flexible 40-hour week.
yes, yeah,
So
which is just fine.
Which is interesting, because the Port of Allen's office hours, and is that your hours?
those are the hours on the door.
Okay, because.
And I don't think they're the same on the internet.
Because it doesn't say that, it doesn't say that, it references the hours of the, so you're gonna be in.
Right, because it says that the employee is expected to work a flexible 40-hour work week, Monday through Friday. So you flex through that, and
Okay.
those are only 6 hours of opening,
Mhm,
but I'm expected to work 2 more hours than that,
right,
essentially.
right,
It's just that it implies that you need to be there when the opening hours are, plus some.
All right,
yes. Who do we lose?
Looks like Ted popped out with,
when he gets back, we'll go ahead and approve
back
it.
to it.
There he is. Excuse me.
Probably got a hot spot like I use, like in and out, in.
And then the rest of it's just pretty standard termination clauses and general
Mhm.
provisions. The automobile and cell phone, I mean, I can strike some of that if you want, but I don't drive that truck.
Yeah,
I mean,
That's fine.
yeah, I
as
think.
far as I'm
good with
concerned,
the-
that's Donnie's truck.
Yeah, I'm good with the rest. So.
And I knew that we just needed something on file, and you said,
Yes,
get it to
we
me
do.
before the next regular meeting. I was like,
Correct,
no, it needs to get done now.
yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're not gonna get to the vacation, sick leave timeframe with the 90-day period,
No.
so I'm not concerned. So I have a question for you, Ted, are you back? Oh, you're back, okay, cool.
I think you're muted.
You're
You're
muted.
muted, Ted.
I apologize.
No, that's okay.
There's no wind up here. There was wind last night, but, no, I'm back on. Go ahead.
Okay, so we were, when we lost you and you got back, we haven't really covered any ground, but we were just going over the interim director employment agreement. With the changes, which is basically taking Larry off there, and there's no big things that have changed on here. But I was gonna ask you a pointed question, Travis. At
Yes.
90 days, are you setting yourself up with our endeavors here to have a full-time, long-term director? Are you setting yourself up so that you'll be good with that after 90 days?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'll of course, have a resume for the position.
Yeah,
But at the same time,
Okay.
I mean, I'm here to serve at the port's pleasure.
right. And we're not here to make any kind of decision like that.
Oh,
But I
absolutely.
wanted to know how you felt about that as far as.
No, I've got a
wanna-
successful business that I
Yeah.
can go back to. I'm not,
Okay,
I'm doing this because I believe in the place.
okay.
So,
No, I appreciate that. Okay,
Can you keep it short?
Yes,
Okay,
contract, have an extension,
no, it
No.
ends at 90 days and then revisit it after that.
sure you have it all wrapped up?
no, we don't know that.
No.
But we can
No,
revisit.
it's just-
Okay.
If we have to, it's in the contract that we just renegotiated 90
Yeah.
days.
Good question.
Okay,
I have a question, when I do the payroll for the retirement, does it make sense if it is just for 90 days to to do 3 months of PERS and then take you out? Or do we want to?
We were
as
going to
a
address
temporary-
putting me into the retirement system anyway with my upgraded hours from the extra 40 plus my security that we had approved months ago.
Yes, okay,
So I'm still being approved into the retirement system. It's just my hours will change
Mhm.
as long as, you know, I'm still being employed here for those other administrative tasks and for the security purposes. Or
So-
if it changes more than that, because we still have 2 positions to fill.
yeah, would that work? To go
Just-
ahead and,
Add them in there
Yeah.
and then just depending on where everything happens, yeah, I think
Okay.
that's fine.
Because my understanding, you just have to have those 70 hours calendared each month to continue to build towards the retirement system.
gotcha, okay.
So add Travis regardless of what the future holds.
So I wasn't sure if you heard what the change of the salary, paragraph 7.1, did you hear that part already, Ted?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Okay,
I
with
got
that change, alrighty.
I got it. Thank you.
So were there any other questions or anything, or do I hear a motion to approve with the changes?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the interim director employment agreement with Travis. Beginning at the 26th of December for the 90-day period that we all have here. With one change, right? We're gonna
Correct.
take out no overtime, whatever that language is gonna look like.
The no overtime.
Okay, I make a motion to approve that.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so
Aye.
moved. Great, thank you, Travis.
Now with Ted not being here, I'll need approval for digital signatures on that document.
Okay. And you'll probably need the same thing for the minutes as well,
Yes.
correct?
All right,
So I need a motion.
Yeah.
For the digital signatures.
so I'll make a motion to approve digital signatures for the regular meeting minutes. Both of those, as well as the interim director's agreement.
Do I hear a
I'll
second?
second.
Okay,
I'll
all in favor? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay. Search for the office assistant.
Mhm.
Any, I'll wait till you get done typing.
Oh,
or
no,
you
it's
good?
good.
Okay.
I do have 2 phone numbers that and email addresses I've acquired from people who have admin cells in the community that are looking for work.
Okay,
They would be entry level positions. One of them did some admin for, I think, more than a year at the hub. And then another one was recommended to me by Barry Betzinger, who was a girl that lives real local here that did admin for the church for quite a while.
okay,
I can bring them down and have a conversation with them
Yeah.
and see if they would.
Travis, before you do that, I think it would be better for the board to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
I mean,
I
I just. All I
I
was.
think
all
the
I was-
board needs to be, we're the ones that put our names on the line. I think the board needs to have a little bit more stake in the game. So
I
I
was
would like-
trying-
I'm very happy to have Aaron. But I think the board needs to have a little bit more stake.
Can I make a suggestion on that? I agree with you 100%. Is this next Wednesday meeting, I'd be willing to come in early if any of the other commissioners would like to do that. Rather than 3, I'd come in at 2:00 and leave that open for any applicants to interview. Just leave that hour open for a few applicants. You can only do a few in that hour. Maybe
I'm right there with you.
all right.
I was trying to finish, but I just wanted to have the conversation with them, so I had more information for you
mm-hmm,
before a decision was made. I would never make a decision in my position currently without the board's approval.
Well, what I'm saying is, never mind all that, if you
Okay,
don't mind.
I won't.
It's just, I'm willing to come in for that hour and then you just send.
And then have them come back.
Yeah, just have them come our way.
Okay,
With applicants, resume, whatever combination, ready to
okay,
go.
but then you would be the only one that could be here because it wouldn't be a published meeting.
So this is next
We
Wednesday.
could
next
publish a
Wednesday.
meeting.
Okay, so I will add that to the agenda for the budget meeting, correct?
it's,
Are you okay?
Because, well, yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That means if you're gonna do the interview, you want, and Ted would like to have the whole board, that means it's another meeting. We have to have, we have to
Yeah.
bump up the
I
meeting.
understand,
Okay,
but I just wanna know if that's fitting, and then if so, then we just advertise it it's
well, that's fine with me, but I don't know if he can make it at 2.
he just said he could.
You can make it at 2?
I'll be there.
Okay, well, that's fine
So I'll set the meeting up for
for
2.
2. And it will be,
And the first part of the meeting will be to talk to candidates about
yes,
So,
admin.
so up to 3 candidates, whatever, for that hour,
Okay,
15 minutes apiece. That,
okay.
that chews
thank
up
you.
45 minutes of the hour, but you got transitional time. I've done this many times. So 3 candidates within that hour, if you can send our way, if there's just one, there's just one, but I'm letting you know. that
I
up
will,
to
I
3.
will, I will
Okay.
attempt to get up to 3. The meeting will be agenda published for 2 PM with the budget starting at 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're good to go, Commissioner Jackson, as far as it being.
Perfect.
o'clock.
Thank you.
Is
Okay,
that acceptable there?
yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.